But Zex, you are an educated person, right? What has the role of having a music diploma and business school education played in you navigating and creating longevity within your music career?
So when I told my mother that I wanted to be a musician, at that time I was a dancer, she said to me, you should need to go study. And her words were like, you'll be different than the next guy. Because talent meets academics, you'll never be the same than someone who's just only talented, you know? So not only did I understand or do I understand my way around creating or making music, but it makes my life so easy, very easy to share music with anyone in the world. I can get to any studio, I can read music, I can read and write music, you know, like a score sheet. I remember this one time last year when I was performing in Rotterdam and I wanted to have my horns. And the guy who was the promoter said he did not have enough budget to fly my horns to Rotterdam. But he can organize horns who can play with me. But those guys weren't available to rehearse with them. So when I was arriving in the afternoon and I was performing in the evening, and I remember writing the score of Ghetto, the horns, on the plane. So that when I get there, I give them, they look at them, they play. So we played in the evening without rehearsing. I think so. I was better off than the next guy. You know, I was better off than the next guy because I was like prepared. I'm sure there are so many people here who are talented. I think when you are talented and then you study. So I'm gonna say this. It might upset other people, but it's the truth. It might not upset some people who like going to school. So when the barriers of entering the music industry are so low that a guy tomorrow can be an artist. Yeah. But when you are educated, then you've added 4 years for that person to be like you. Yeah. So they will have to have 4 years to be same as you. The more they stay, the more you learn. So it might take 10, 15 years for people in this room to get to where I am. It might take you one day to release a hit single, but it will take 15 years to know what I know to be where I am because of school. So we are different than the next guy, because even when I got hired at Sony Music, my MD saw me at the business school and was like, what are you doing here? And I was studying social entrepreneurship. So I did not get a Sony gig because of being a musician, but I had a one-up because any A&R person had never been on stage, and I've been on stage. But I also had a one-up from the artists that wanted to be at Sony Music, because those particular artists weren't educated musically like myself. So I had advantage in both. So I was a better candidate, you know, from both sides. From those who were academically but never been on stage, and for those who were on stage but not academical. So I'm saying to you, so you'll have a lot of artists who will tell you that you do not need school to be an artist. I'll tell you that you need school to sustain yourself in this industry. You might not need school to make a hit singing, but you need school to sustain yourself.
There's the question of relevance, right? What kind of education can a performing artist go about having, especially looking at their life goals, etc.?
You know, when it comes to relevancy and people still get happy or want to take pictures of even after I think 14 years in the industry right now professionally. Same thing. When you go to school, you not only do you study to graduate, but you have enough database, what you call human capital. You know, so you will know someone who was doing journalism. You'll know someone who's doing engineering. You'll know people who are doing different things. And when you enter your career, those people will assist you. Believe me, I've met people whom were studying journalism at school who interviewed me. There are so many favors that I got because someone who was studying production was doing the summers, and then my name was mentioned. I'm like, yeah, let's get this, because they had a relationship with me. Because human capital. So your value is really not on money. It's on human capital. Human capital when how many people you know and how many people will talk about you in different boardrooms. That is your currency. Your currency is not really the money itself, but it's the currency of people who when your name is mentioned, who will say nah, and who will say yes, let us get that guy. And I think your sustainability relies on that particular human currency. You know, I'm sure when my name will be mentioned with Umama, like who says yes, let us get this. Because what made me to come here was because you invited me here because I went to school. But because I went to school, then I sat there, then I met other people who then educated. Then when I mentioned within their respective, boardrooms, then I'm there because of that particular human capital. So you definitely have to study the industry, to study people. I studied international people for master sustainability. I also studied South African people. I studied 4 artists that I felt like were so relevant. And I was like, I wanna be like those guys. One was Ringo Mandingo's. You know, because with Ringo Mandingo's doesn't even have to release a single. You just love Ringo. You won't even question why Ringo is on stage or why he's on the poster. The second person that I studied was Oskido. You know, Oskido every time, every December, every artist somewhere, Oskido is somewhere there, you know. The third person that I started was Tandi Somaswai. You know, it's like how she managed to be the artist that she is after so many years. The fourth person that I looked at and I started was Brenda Fassie. How then it was managed. And there are 2 things that I've realized that were common to all these artists, except Brenda Fassie. But to these 3 artists, there are 2 things. Tandi Somaswai and Ringo Mandingo's, they make timeless music and they don't rush. They give an album and they wait. Yeah. You enjoy each and every single. So you don't demand when December feel, oh, should tell me so release an in, or Ringo release an in. It's the reason why I took 5-6 years to release my next album. So 2010, I released Clap Your Hands. It took 2010, 11, 12, 13. After 4 years, and that's when I released another album. And right now, no one is demanding me to say, Zex, where is your song on radio? But I still get bookings. But I studied, for me to be able to sustain it. Had I not gone to school, probably I wouldn't even see the need to study even the industry.
Yeah, in fact, I'm still clapping my hands right now. That song really transcended time. This is amazing that you emphasize the importance of building relationships. But on another note, I read quite recently that the SABC owes royalty organizations 250 million. It's a lot of money. The artist is Lambi. Mrs. Palisa, what is your stance on, or rather, what is the stance of SAMPRA regarding that amount of money that is being owed to musicians?
Let me first say to you guys that SABC has paid SAMPRA, right? I'm just going to break it down so that you understand the different types of royalties. There's SAMPRA, which is what I'm representing, and SAMPRA collects for recording artists and record companies. Recording artists would be your lead vocalist, your backing vocalist, your sessionist, the instrumentalist, everybody who plays an instrument, and studio producers, everybody who goes into a studio and physically make that sound. Everybody who goes in a studio and contributes in making a song. That is what SAMPRA collects and distributes to. And to record companies, because obviously when your song is playing out there and you have a record company, the record companies, they promote your music, they make sure that you're out there getting the exposure that you need. And then SAMPRA collects for producers, authors and composers, the people who write the songs. And they don't collect for recording artists, unless you are both a recording artist and an author or composer. But mainly they collect for authors and composers. They don't collect for the backing vocalists, the session musicians. They collect for people who write the songs. And then there is Capasso. Capasso, they collect for all the digitals and the reproduction of songs. So if your song, if maybe Uzex wants to remake Ingomagar, Ingomazingos, and Zex just go and do it without consulting Capasso, Zex will not get the royalties. The royalties will because it did not follow the proper channels, because there's a contract whereby Uzex would have to contact Ringo Madlingos, and Ringo Madlingos would have to approve that you can remake my song. And from there, there's a contract and there's a split, which when the song plays, the royalties are shared like equally. Zex would get his share, and then Ringo Madlingos would get his share. So that is Capasso. And then there is RISA, they collect for music videos. If your song plays on TV, any music video, they are collected by RISA. So now with SABC has paid Isamro and has paid Capasso. However, SABC hasn't paid SAMPRA. And this is the dispute that we've been going on with with SABC, because they did not want to pay us from 2009, because SAMPRA, even if you can register now, even if your song was playing in 2009 and you only register now, we will backdate your money and we would pay you from 2009. But what SABC did not want to do is to backdate from 2009. They only wanted to pay for 2014 to 2015. So as you know that there is SAMPRA and there's another company that collects and distributes like we do at SAMPRA, which is IMPRA. They only paid IMPRA the royalties for 2014 and 2015. So we as SAMPRA could not allowed that, because we believe that you have the money that is playing music from 2009. Why can't you pay from 2009? So this is the dispute that we've been going on with SABC, and at the moment we've taken SABC to arbitration. But we are hopeful eventually we would get the money from SABC.
Romeo, could you please assist me with the second mic? Then we will take it back when we're done with this process. But okay, on that note, Palisa, with recent developments, SABC got bailed out. Do you think maybe perhaps from that bailout money they might, allocate for that those lost years? And I think on that note, let me ask two questions in one. We spoke of splits, right? How do these splits work? First, maybe if you can touch on the split between SAMPRA and the artist, and then also how much does SAMPRA collect on behalf of the artist? Let's say your song gets played once on Mhlobo Wenen, right? How do you value that? Yeah.
All right. With the SABC, we can only be hopeful. We cannot just let it go like that, because it's serious business. It's serious money that we're talking about here. And it's not our money as SAMPRA, it's the money for the artist and for the record company. So we cannot just say SABC, aina money, and then we let it go. Okay, then with the splits, SAMPRA, right? When we receive money from the music users, SAMPRA only takes an administration fee like any other company would take an administration fee if they render services. We only take 20% of a distribution. We don't take 20% per artist. We take 20% for the whole distribution. Yes. And then the 80%, that is what we distribute to the artist. So here's the thing, if we collected 100 Rand for Zakes, for instance, right? Obviously Zakes, when Zakes makes a song in the studio, there's band members, right? There's people who play instrument, and there's Zakes. So Zakes would get 65% of the 100 Rand. And then the 35% of the 100 Rand would go to the band members, of which then they will share the 35%. So the band members obviously will be all the instrumentalists, the backing vocalists, and the studio producers. And then the 65% would go to the main artist. So if the main artist collects his royalties from us, whether we attend or unattend, the 35% would not go to Zakes. It will remain with us until we get those session musicians.
What if I played? What if I played?
If you played everything as an artist, you get everything. But then we would know. And we need notification. Hence we need you guys as an artist to notify on a document so that you mention on a document who did what. So that we know that when we capture your notification, we credit correctly. So if they say there's a band, maybe a band like the Paratones they are all playing the instruments and they are also artists. So they get the whole 100%.
So essentially, when Assis Palisa, you guys divide this into these different splits for the purpose, because you know in the news you'll hear that, hey, artist Chile is depressed, he didn't get paid. Are you trying to avoid those sort of things by allocating individual to the different artists?
Yes, as you know, like the royalties in the beginning of the royalty business, they were only received by the artists. And they were paid to the record companies, right? And the artists would go and collect their royalties to the record companies. So, the government which is fairly so, and we believe which is the correct thing to do, it's not fair that the song plays and then only not a particular artist contributed onto that song, but all the people who were involved are not getting anything from it. Oh, okay. At first, the artist would get the whole 65, the whole 100%. Hence now the split, which it's only fair that we give the people who also contributed into a song, which are the band members. Because if a song plays, it plays every time, and then if a song plays every time, white melody, only the artists receive money and not everybody who was involved in the song.
But Zakes, if I recall clearly, at some point MT experienced some trouble within the industry, and you're still at Sony at the time, and you wanted to sign MT. How does the exploitation work within the industry? Is it a personal thing where the artist is not disciplined, or do the recording companies also play some sort of role in it? And also, when you enter into contracts, what is a favorable contract?
Okay. I think really you have to listen to this very carefully, because there is no artist or originals. There's no record company that decides that, hey, today, only today, that I'm not going to give you your money, or I'm going to give you 5%. They give you according to what you signed 3, 4, or 5 years ago. So they follow something that you signed. So it's not like a record company suddenly today they just woke up and like, yo, we're not going to give you your money. It's not that. A record company, they give you a contract, they advise artists to go and ask for those particular lawyers to help them sign the contract. Unfortunately, in South Africa, we don't have entertainment lawyers. So they need to put write the contract to sign. You know what I mean? Name pictures are they sign. However, I also understand the issue that when you don't have anything, you can sign any opportunity that is coming your way. But 2-3 years later, now you do not know how big you are going to be. Now immediately as you become so big, then people start coming to you with right information. Then you're gonna come and then you're gonna cry foul and be like, yeah, this record company is, you know. So that these are issues that sometimes happen in South Africa, you know. So how artists get exploited, or because sometimes even record companies right now get exploited by artists, because you're gonna sign an artist today. I know so because my record company has been very fair, but we've been exploited by artists because we were trying to be a fair record company. You know, I think this industry I call fair. You know, because when the record company is fair, the artist isn't. When the artist is fair, the record company isn't. So you sign an artist, someone comes here, doesn't know anything, you teach them, you tell them what to sign, they're like, you know, we understand, you make sure that they are fine. Then 2-3 years later, then someone says, no, I wanna go now on my own, you know, I wanna grow. And then you ask yourself, but I've been investing into you because I also wanted to grow. Yeah. So suddenly when you want to grow, why do you want to grow alone now? Oh, what happened to me? You know, as a record company, because I thought that we were growing. So now we're at a space where you want to grow, or you've seen the light. I've invested 2 years ago when you were nobody, when you used to walk in the street, take a taxi, no one would even ask you of a picture. Because today people are asking of a picture and they know who you are. Suddenly you want to grow, but what about now growing with me as well? Why wouldn't you want to grow when you want to leave? You know, because there's this perception of saying a growth of an artist is when an artist leaves a record label. That's not growth sometimes, because it's about the team. So you are more than welcome to come and renegotiate your contract. Renegotiate it, guys. Let us unpack my contract again. Let us renegotiate. I want to be able now to, this is where I want to go in the next 5 years. This is what I want to achieve. This is what I want to do. I want this. This is the role. I want to add my own team. And then a record company will be willing to accommodate. If the record company isn't willing to, then you can say, you know, then because my growth that I have, the idea, we don't share the same sentiments, then in that case, then I want to leave, you know.
With that said, Uze is still on that point of record company and artist. That is why we as SAMPRA, there's a split. When we get the money from the music users, the 50% goes to the artist and the 50% goes to the record company. So the record company that published your work or your album or your title or your single would get 50% of that particular recording's earnings.
So is it a standard 50% or is it something?
It's standard. It's 50-50.
Okay.
So even if you can go and then as per the contract, as the way Uzex would notify the song as Mayoni's production that this recording was recorded and published under Mayoni. Yes. When the earnings comes from SAMPRA, we will take 50% of the earnings and give to Mayoni and 50% will go to the artist.
So, as the artist, I contract. I don't even know where that thing comes from or who that thing is. What is the basic? I mean, because from industry to industry or whatever you're signing for, right? There are certain key things that you need to negotiate on. Right? What are these key components in an artist recording label contract?
Yeah. So when you have a pen and paper, I would suggest that you perhaps take it out, or when you have a phone, you know, you go to your notes, because I mean this is the information. I mean this is how it is. So we have 4 popular contracts that you enter into between a record company and an artist. Right. So firstly, you have an artist contract. An artist contract is when this is an artist, you are signing an artist to your record label. Now there the percentages are anything between 7% and 12%. So when someone gives you 10%, akagropi. When someone gives you 9%, akagropi. When someone gives you 12, or when someone gives you 7, akagropi. You just need to negotiate. So you negotiate. So when that person gives you 20% as an artist, you know, right? And then you have that's what is an artist contract. The second contract that you have what you call licensing contract. A license. So a license, it's when you as an artist or as a record company, you have recorded the music, done, finished, it's done. All you want that music to be marketed and distributed. So that is licensing. So you don't need anything. This is like a product. All you want that this particular product to be marketed and distributed. Now, in that case, you give a record company everything: the photos, the name of the album, the track listing, everything. That a record company, all it does is to take that, market it, and distribute it. Even the music video, you are going to shoot music videos, you just give a record company to put it onto the machine that I was explaining earlier on. There, anything between 18% and 30%. In fact, my favorite 30%. But I don't figure that. 20, 23, but no, you know, or 25. But depending on your negotiation. Now, 25% comes to you as a record company or as an artist. That is a licensing contract. Then you have another one which we call P&D. P&D is called press and distribution. Press and distribution is simple. So you record your music, you market your music. All you want from the record company is to distribute it. That's it. So, you know, and then that one you get anything between 75 and 80% coming to you, because all the record company is doing is just to distribute. So that is like the P&D, press and distribution. So when someone says P&D, they're speaking about press and distribution. Then they have the fourth one, which is called JV, joint venture, simple. It's a SAMPRA idea. It's 50-50%. 50-50. We go in 50%, we go out 50%. Those are four popular deals. I think I've given you with also their percentages. And also I think one thing that I'd like to just share with you guys, don't be scared of a contract. It's not casting stone. Contracts are there to be negotiated. So someone must not intimidate you and be like, but this is what is happening, this is the standard. It might be the standard, you know, but the standard is just for you to understand with how much you need to push. You know what I mean? So that when someone says, no, but I've given you already 15%, and you're like, but okay, it's an artist contract, okay, no, I can let it go. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's just to guide you there, you know? But just make sure that when someone gives you a contract, when I start a contract, in this industry, there's nothing called an independent artist. Yes. Every artist is signed somewhere, somehow. Because you might be independent in terms of your music, but immediately as you want your music to be distributed on iTunes and Spotify and Tidal, you have to sign something. You know, so there's nothing called independence. There's not. So when someone says I'm independent, they lie. They're just independent in terms of like they lie. No one is independent in this industry. You know. So just be careful. There are so many artists who've lost so many opportunities hearing other artists that they look up to saying I'm independent, and then they're given contracts. They're like, no, I don't want to sign because I don't want to be independent. But those artists don't tell them that actually, you know, why you listen to my music? It's because there is a contract somewhere that I signed. That's why you know of me, you know. So just make sure that you listen to your favorite artist, but you know, but also don't listen to them. Thank you.
So as well, like as contracts, you enter into these different contracts.